how to clarify what you really want. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So firstly, we need to get clear on why do we need to set goals and have a direction and a purpose for our lives. Very important question to ask. Let's have a look at some of the benefits we get when we set goals and we have a clear direction and a clear purpose of what we want to achieve. We want to see changes in our life happening. It's very important. We've come to a decision that we want change to happen. Now, an important principle in life is that when we want to make changes in our life, the first point is just to accept what is, not to fight the current circumstance, but to accept what is. That's very important. It's an important principle. So the first thing is, when we want to make changes, we accept what is, but then once we've accepted what is, we're not fighting the moment, then we start working on wanting to make the changes. Also, another benefit is understanding that everything we want begins in consciousness, and radiating this message out to the universe is very important in terms of achieving what we want. So that's very, very important when we set goals. What we're actually doing is we're activating the law of manifestation by experiencing what we want in consciousness and then radiating that energy and that message out to the universe in order to attract what we want. So that's another reason why we want to set goals and have a direction. Something else that's very, very important is that we must learn to take control of our energy, our power, our thoughts, and our life. If you want to have a better life, if you want to experience more abundance in our life, we must understand, we must take responsibility, and we must make our own life work. We must take control of our energy, our power, and our thoughts, and create the life that we really want. So that's another reason why we need to have a direction. The next point is that it's a decision that you are taking control of your life, like I've just mentioned. It's an awareness that your time is precious and that you want to live life based on what you truly value and to get the most out of your life. Setting goals, having a direction for our life gives us hope for the future. We have things that we're excited to look forward to when we wake up in the morning. We're excited about getting going because we have things we want to achieve. Also, we will experience the rewards of growth because setting goals and achieving them will require us to stay outside our comfort zone. The more we stay out our comfort zone, it eventually becomes a habit and we grow tremendously. Setting and achieving our own goals helps us to inspire people around us to do the same. Once we understand the power of setting and achieving goals and we're able to do that, we can help other people to do the same. Setting and achieving goals also helps us to have a strong purpose where you feel committed. It gives you a reason for being alive, something that you want to achieve, a specific way you want to contribute and make a difference with your life to the lives of others. Also, when we set goals and we have a direction, we're taking responsibility for our own life and for making our goals and dreams come true. We're not relying on other people. We're making a decision that we're going to make our own life work. We're also making a decision to be proactive because setting goals, in order to achieve them, once we have a direction, we need to take action. We need to be responsible and make things happen. Also, setting goals and having a direction for our life is a way for us to claim the abundance that is ours in this world. Why else do you think it is important to set goals and to have clarity as to what you want to achieve with your life. What other reasons can you think of that makes it important for us to get into the habit of working on a goals program? So now let's have a look at some of the things that we can do in order to have more clarity, to clarify what we really want. What can we do to clarify what we really want? First of all, we can start off by creating a possibilities list. In the last about 30 years, I've got into the habit of writing things down. When you write things down, the act of your pen touching the paper also activates your emotions. So we start with a possibilities list. If you look around you, everything that we see started out as a thought. So the first part of clarifying what we really want is to start with a possibilities list. Get yourself a Turing binder file, or if you want to type it out on your PC or a Word document, create a file for yourself and call it my possibilities list. And on this list, just list everything that comes up and allow your imagination to be free. A question that you really want to ask yourself is, what would you do if you had an abundance of money and time? What would you really do if you had an abundance of money and time? What would you like to buy that you've always wanted? What would you like to spend money on? Who would you like to spend money on? In what ways would you like to enrich people's lives with money? What would you really like to have that you don't have right now? What would you like to do with more free time? What changes would you like to make? What new habits would you like to develop? Places you'd like to visit? Now, on this list, you can write down short-term goals that you'd like to achieve, long-term goals, but also you want to really exercise your imagination and just write down whatever comes up. And the key is to not judge. Whatever comes up, just write it down without judging whether it's possible or not. This is just a list to exercise our imagination and to start identifying all the possibilities that could come up. What would you like to do that seems impossible at the moment? Just write it down. Whatever comes up, just put it down. It's just a basic list. And the idea that you want to add to this list on a regular basis. Just allow your imagination to be free. Whatever comes up, things you'd like to have. What would you like to do with more free time that you can't do right now? What are your dreams? What are your biggest dreams and goals? You want to maybe fly around the world for a year. You want to maybe take a year off and do whatever you want to do. Just whatever comes up. Be a #1 New York Times best-selling author. Whatever comes up, just write it down. Just allow your thoughts and your imagination to run free. Now, once we've done that, and you can pause the video if you want, and you can spend a little bit of time creating and working on your possibilities list. The next thing that we need to do in order to get clarity on what we really want is we need to establish our values. You need to establish what your values are in life. Now, what are values? Values are what we stand for and what means a lot to us. It's the things that are very, very important to us, what we will not compromise on. How do we establish our values? Let's have a look at some of the things that we can do to establish our values. So the first thing that you want to uncover is you want to uncover what your gift is. What are your gifts? You came into the world with gifts that you can work on and give to other people and enrich life for many, many beings. So the question to ask yourself is, what do you enjoy spending your time doing? What are you passionate about? What are you curious about? What do you love to do? What gives you a lot of pleasure? If you love playing a musical instrument and that's a gift, you like writing poetry, you like to teach, you like to help other people uncover and use their potential, maybe you are very good at researching stuff. So what are your gifts? What did you come here to do? What do you really enjoy doing? And it takes time, soul searching to uncover this. But it's the things you really love spending time doing that you find come easily to you. Something else to ask yourself, what have you uncovered or experienced or overcome? What have you learnt that you would like to share with others that can help them? Perhaps difficulties that you've overcome in your life. What have you learned from overcoming those difficulties? And how can you share this with other people and help enrich their life? This is also part of clarifying what you really want. What did you come here to do that will make a difference in the world? What do you feel a sense and obligation to share with the world that will enrich other people's lives? What contributions do you want to make? How can you add value to people's lives by doing what you love to do and in this way generate income? That's another question to ask yourself that can help you to clarify what you really want. How can you add value to people's lives by doing what you love to do? So if you are a brilliant musician, how can you add value to other people's lives by what you know about music through your ability to play the instruments that you can play? How can you add value to other people's lives and generate income by doing this? Maybe you can put together a course that people can do online and you can teach them how to play a specific instrument or the unique things that you've uncovered through your music. The next point that we need to work on in order to clarify what we want, and this is very important, we need to get to know ourselves, get to know yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? We need to get to know what are our weaknesses, what are our strengths, in what ways have we been conditioned in the past, what is holding us back, what do we value, what are our beliefs that we need to change, what is our purpose. So we need to go through self-evaluation in order to gain more awareness and to get more clarity. So here's an exercise that you want to consider doing and spending time on a regular basis. There are quite a few statements that I've written here, and when you go through each statement, you can evaluate the statement just for the purpose of gaining more insights, more knowledge, and to get more clarity. So the purpose is not to judge yourself, the purpose is to gain more insights. So let's take an example. You can answer yes, no, or sort of. Once you've gone through these statements and you've answered, given an evaluation, you can come back to them and you can ask yourself, what am I learning from how I've answered the statement? What changes do I want to make from how I've answered? And what goals do I want to perhaps set? Let's take an example. Here's a statement. I am totally financially independent. Now you can answer, yes, I am. No, I'm not. or sort of. Now, let's say, for example, I'm totally financially independent. Let's say, for example, I answered the question, no, I'm not. So what can I learn from this? Now, you can also stay open to your inner being and just see what is coming up for you. I'm totally financially independent. So what's coming up for me is how am I using my time? Am I investing my time into activities that will lead to financial independence? You see how other questions start coming up. How strong is my desire to be financially independent? That's something else that came up as I started working through this statement. I'm totally financially independent. What would be the benefits? What would be different in my life if I was totally financially independent? That's something else that came up for me as I just went through that statement. What changes do I want to make based on what I have answered? I've answered no, I'm definitely not totally financially independent. So what changes would I like to make? Well, I would like to have income coming in on an ongoing basis. I would like to have a system in place where I'm adding value to people's lives that can lead to them benefiting and me having income coming in on an ongoing basis. So what came up for me right now is I need to complete my book on my life's journey so that I can upload that onto different platforms. People can buy the book, they can gain value from what I have learned in my life. And I can also generate income from that. So you can see just from one statement, I'm totally financially independent. Look at what's coming up. Just from going through the statement, evaluating where you stand, coming back to it and seeing what you want to change or improve. Also, what comes up for me is one of my strengths. I've just realized right now going through this is I'm quite determined and persistent in working on things in my life. For example, I had a low self-image in my 20s, and I've worked very hard on trying to overcome that. I've gone through a lot of obstacles and worked very hard on that. So what are my strengths? When I have something that's important to me, I'm pretty determined to working on it. So let's just go through some of these questions, in fact, some of these statements, and see what comes up for you. You can also pause the video as you go through this, and you can spend some time, which is highly, highly valuable. I am in good health. I eat healthy foods. Yes, I do. No, I don't, or sort of. I exercise regularly. I spend time regularly in nature. Yes, I do. No, I don't, sort of. What's coming up for you as we go through these sentences? Are you happy with what's coming up? Are there changes perhaps that you want to make? I go on holiday whenever I choose to. I rest adequately. I understand good nutrition. My physical energy level is good. Yes, it's good. No, it's not. Or sort of. I have meaning and purpose in my life. I enjoy my work. I am contributing in ways that makes my life meaningful and purposeful. So like I said, you can pause the video, you can read through these statements, take time and see what comes up for you. I am being fairly remunerated for the value I am adding. Sometimes I just read these statements a couple of times, let them sink in. I am being fairly remunerated for the value that I am adding. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Or sort of. I'm being fairly remunerated for the value that I'm adding. So once you've gone through these statements, once again, just ask yourself, how did you evaluate yourself as an example based on the statement, I'm being fairly remunerated for the value that I'm adding? What's coming up for you? Do you feel that you're getting paid fairly for the value that you're adding? How can you add more value? How can you generate more income from the value that you are adding? Are there some changes perhaps that you want to make in your life in order to generate more income? Do you feel that you're investing your time and energy into an activity that can remunerate you the amount of money that you really want to generate in your life? How do I find people that can benefit from from the value that I can add and that can afford my services? That's something that just came up for me as I went through the statement. I am financially independent. Yes, no, kind of. I am financially independent. I am financially independent. See what's coming up. Repeat the statements a couple of times. Evaluate yourself. Yes, I am, or no, I'm not, or sort of. I'm financially independent. Once you've evaluated yourself, come back to the statements and see what you're learning from it. What goals do you want to set? What does financial independence mean to me? That's something that just popped up right now as I read the statement of financial independence. What does financial independence mean to me? Right? Perhaps having enough money that I can choose to use my time how I want to use it every day. I can get involved in the activities that I want to get involved in. What does financial independence mean to me? How would my life be different if I was more financially independent? So you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking a statement, I'm financially independent, I'm evaluating where I stand, and I'm just staying open and seeing what I'm learning, what changes I want to make, what I would like to see different in my life, and what would be different if I was financially independent. Perhaps go on more holidays, eat more quality foods, spend more money on people that I want to spend money on. So these statements help you to gain more insights. What beliefs do I have that are running, that are stopping me from becoming financially independent? What habits have I got perhaps that are stopping me from generating more income? So as you go through this process, you'll learn to ask yourself more questions and you can gain more insights into what is important in your life and what goals you want to set. Once again, you can pause the video, spend some time on these statements. I'm happy with the relationships I have with my family members. How would you evaluate yourself based on that statement? I understand my family's needs and wants. Yes, no, sort of. Then, like I said, once you've been through these statements, come back to them and ask yourself, based on how you evaluated yourself, what am I learning from how I evaluated myself? What changes do I want to make? Also, use this process in ways that flow for you. I'm just giving you a suggestion of how to use the process, but you may find other ways that work for you as well. I experience deep intimacy. Yes, no, or kind of. What does real intimacy mean to me? What would I need? What needs to happen in my life for me to experience more deeper intimacy? Once again, go through the statements, come back to them. I understand that sexual pleasure is a pathway back to enlightenment. What comes up for you from that statement? I understand that sexual pleasure is a pathway back to enlightenment. Yes, no, kind of. I experience oneness in my intimate relationship or relationships. I experience oneness in my intimate relationship or relationships. Am I experiencing harmony in my intimate relationship or relationships? I understand how the law of manifestation and the law of attraction works. I understand how the law of manifestation and the law of attraction works. Yes, no, or kind of. Now let's take an example. I understand how the law of manifestation, the law of attraction works. So what comes up for you when you read that statement? Am I attracting my goals to me? That's what's just come up for me right now. What do I need to do in order to attract my goals to me? What are my goals that I want to see manifesting in my life? What I realize right now, I need to have a stronger self-worth. In one of the previous videos that I put together, it's called The Pathway Back to the Garden of Eden. I spoke about the importance of getting in touch with our true essence. And one of the characteristics, one of the qualities of our true essence is energy and creative power and abundant value. So what I'm getting from this is I've got to continuously cause more of my power to reveal itself. Because when the power that I am, that we all are, that humility and that power and that abundant value, when that starts to reveal itself, I start to feel that I become more determined, I become more focused, and more committed to achieving my goals. I've just realized now I need to take more action and stay out my comfort zone. So do you notice how I'm working with these statements? I'm reading the statement, I'm evaluating myself where I stand, then coming back to the statement and seeing what I can learn from it. What am I learning from how I've evaluated myself or even from the statement? What changes do I want to make? What insights are coming up as I read the statement? What goals do I want to set? I welcome and create change. I believe I can create the life I want to live. What came up for me right now, I need to stay out my comfort zone more. I have clearly defined goals in all areas of my life. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Kind of. Am I spending enough quality time on my goals program, clarifying what I really want? Am I taking the action? Am I aware of how precious time is? These are some things that are coming up. My life has meaning and purpose. Yes, no, or sort of. What am I learning from this? What changes do I want to make? I am proactive and make things happen. I am proactive and make things happen. So you can take time, spend some quiet time, spend time on this on a regular basis, and you'll find that this will help you to understand and to get to know yourself a lot better. Also notice that there may be, you may realize there are habits or there's conditioning that's coming up that you're not happy with. You may feel a little bit uncomfortable about certain patterns that come up. And remember that working with things that are uncomfortable in your life helps you to grow. Before we can make any changes, we must be aware, consciously aware of what we need to change. What is holding us back from achieving more in life? What are our values? What's important? What goals do we want to set? So this is the next point. The next step that we can do is we can take some time and do some self-evaluation to get to know ourselves better. Once we've gone through the self-evaluation process, like I said, you can start to ask yourself, what goals do I want to achieve that are coming out from this exercise? What changes do I want to make? The next point that we need to work on to get clarity on what we really want, we need to uncover what our motives and our values are. Uncover your motives to clarify your values. What are your motives? Strong motives help us to increase our motivation in order to achieve our goals. We also need to know what are our motives. Now, this is something very important to just become aware of that'll help you with your motivation and your goal setting. We are motivated by the desire to move towards pleasure, and we're motivated by the desire to move away from pain. So in life, we generally are motivated to move towards the things that that give us pleasure, and we're motivated to move away from the things that cause us pain. Let's understand that when we are working on our goals program and trying to get clarity on what we really want. Now let's take an example I'm going to take an example of what I value. In the last 30 odd years, I've spent working on my own personal development. What I've uncovered, and it took me years and years, and I encourage you to watch the video that I created that I mentioned, Pathway Back to the Garden of Eden. It's on YouTube as well. And in that video, I share my life story up to this point of what my journey has been over the last 30 years. It's all in that video. Now, what I uncovered in that video, that I became aware of what I call my true essence. Now, you can call it anything you like. You can call it God, your higher self, higher wisdom, infinite intelligence, your truth, your essence. So after many, many years, I started to experience and become aware of my true essence. And part of my true essence is experiencing the energy and the power that is my true essence. Now, when I'm talking about power, like I said in that previous video, I'm not talking about having power over other people or controlling others. I'm talking about getting in touch with our true essence, which part of our true essence is infinite power, infinite knowledge, infinite awareness of truth. And when I'm in touch with my true essence, what happens, I start to feel abundant value. I start to feel peacefulness. I start to feel okay about myself as a being and a human being. I start to feel tremendous value within myself. Now, what causes me a lot of pleasure is getting in touch with my true essence, and that's what I value and what I work on a lot during the day. Now, what causes me the most amount of pain is when I feel a sense of powerlessness, and I almost feel like I'm being controlled by my ego when I am powerless. Now, once I understand that what really drives me is experiencing more of the power that is my true essence, because when I experience my power, I know that I can radiate love to people. I know that I can work on my goals and manifest what I want, which I'm still working on. When I feel a sense of powerlessness, I know that I have my ability to attract my goals to me, my ability to feel good about life. I just don't feel that when I feel powerlessness. Once I understand, this is an example of my motives, the things that are motivating me. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how I use this to motivate myself and to have clarity of what I want. Knowing this gives me the commitment, the discipline, the willingness to work on channeling my sexual energy. In that video that I spoke about, I uncovered and I explained the whole process in that video. I uncovered how using my sexual energy, I learned to build the sexual energy inside my body, excuse me, and I learned how to move the sexual energy into my brain area. And once this energy energizes my brain area, I notice that activates my true essence. But I also realized that and I spoke about this in that video, I also realized that ejaculation leads to powerlessness. Ejaculation leads to powerlessness. So what I learned to work on, and I'm still working on it, I'm working on having what I call having energetic orgasms, where one can experience long-lasting pleasure without losing your power. This is something I worked on that I started realizing after 18 years of working on my own personal development. Now, obviously, when people have children, when they want to have children, then the way to have children is through the process of ejaculation. So I'm not talking about that, but something that I uncovered is that when I actually ejaculate, I lose my power, and I actually hate feeling powerlessness. So one of my motives is to experience more awareness of abundant value, that is my essence, to also experience the power that is my essence, the love that is my essence, the compassion, the humility. So that motivates me a lot. So that's something that I want to move towards more and more. I want to experience more and more of that blissfulness and that pleasure and that humble power. What do I want to move away from? I want to move away from the feeling of powerlessness that comes from ejaculation. I'm just giving an example. But there are other things that cause powerlessness as well. As an example, one of my principles, I value the law of sowing and reaping, because I understand as I sow, I'm going to reap. Now, if I do anything that is outside of my integrity, I'm going to lose my power. So, for example, if I have an opportunity to pinch something that doesn't belong to me, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I know that honesty and integrity helps me to experience my inner power. If I take something that doesn't belong to me, immediately what's going to happen? I'm not going to feel okay, and that's going to take away my clarity and my inner power. So once we understand what our values are, once we understand what our motives are, the things that give us pleasure and cause us pain, we start to have more clarity about our goals. We start to build a foundation, a strong foundation in our life upon which we can set goals. So let me just to give you an example of what I mean. Right now in my life, what I'm working on doing, I'm working on having what I call energetic orgasms. In other words, where I can experience orgasmic pleasure, blissfulness without losing my power. I'm still working on this. Now, as a normal human being, we have sexual desires, and our sexual pleasure builds up. And that sexual pleasure wants to be satisfied, and there's nothing wrong with sexual pleasure. It's healthy, and it's very important to enjoy sexual pleasure in life. And what I've learned, that I have to learn to channel and direct that sexual pleasure, because if I don't do that, and I explained about this in that video, if I don't learn to channel and direct my sexual energy, what's going to happen down the line, it's going to lead to ejaculation, which leads to powerlessness. But like I said, if your intention is to have children, then ejaculation is great. It's perfect and it's healthy and it's good. But something that I have learned to do is to have energetic orgasms where I don't ejaculate and I experience tremendous pleasure. If you're in a relationship with someone, this is something that you can work on. It takes a lot of practice and it takes time. But if you can work on having energetic orgasms where you do not ejaculate and your partner the same, and you do not lose your power, you can experience lasting pleasure. You can experience a lot of pleasure. I'm encouraging you to just stay open to that concept. So that's something, how my motives and my values have helped me to be disciplined. I try and do things that lead to me causing more of the power that is my essence to reveal itself. Why? Because I know that when I feel that power and I feel that pure love, I know how my life is. I know how I'm confident amongst people. I can radiate love to people. I can inspire people more. And I know that is the key to me manifesting my goals and achieving what I want in life. I've created other videos on how to manifest what you want as well. It's all on YouTube. So just to sum up, we are motivated by the desire to move towards pleasure, and we're motivated by the desire to move away from pain. So some of the things you can ask yourself when you're setting your goals, just ask yourself, what pleasure am I going to experience from achieving these goals? And what emotional pain do I want to move away from in my life? Another area in my life, I want to move away from the pain of actually not having money and not being financially independent. Why does that cause me pain? Because when I don't have money, I cannot eat quality food. I cannot choose to do what I want with my time. I cannot buy the things that I want. I can't take care of my own needs in my life. And you can hear in my voice that not having money actually causes emotional pain. You cannot survive without money. This is the world that we are living in. So one of the things that are moving me right now in my own life, I want to move away from the pain of poverty. And that's creating motivation in my life where it's getting me to stay outside my comfort zone and do more of the things that I know I must do. So I just want to mention to you over here, short-term versus long-term sexual pleasure. Something that has helped me tremendously with uncovering my motives, like I said, and creating motivation. What I learned is that physical sexual pleasure that is just based on physical pleasure is very short-term, and ejaculation is very short-term, and like I said, it leads to powerlessness. So when I was working on my goals many years ago, I started noticing that I was losing power at times from things in my life. And what I came to realize, that short-term pleasure, seeking short-term pleasure and ejaculation leads to short-term pleasure leads to powerlessness. So slowly I started uncovering that if I can learn to maintain and not lose my energy by experiencing sexual pleasure without ejaculation, that can keep my energy high. As I said, have a look at the video. I discussed it in that video, Pathway Back to the Garden of Eden. By maintaining my sexual pleasure, my motivation is higher and much, much stronger. Now, here's some examples of values that one may value, but you uncover your own values. I value true essence revealing itself, my own true essence revealing itself, power, energy, knowledge of truth revealing itself, accepting personal responsibility, truth, honesty, integrity, courage, freedom, blissfulness, contribution. I value contributing with my life, understanding, having compassion and independence. So that's the next point. In order to clarify what you really want, we need to clarify our values and our motives. The next point we need to clarify in order to understand what we really want in life is you need to clarify your principles. Clarify your own principles. Now, I'll give an example of one of my guiding principles. A principle is the guiding law that is eternal. For example, gravity works. Whether we like it or not, it's a law of the universe. Now, one of my principles that I value highly is the law of sowing and reaping. The law of sowing and reaping. Whatever we sow, we reap. Right? Whatever seeds that a farmer plants, that is what's going to harvest. For example, if you plant banana seeds, what's going to happen? Bananas are going to harvest. If you plant a pepino seed, pepinos are going to harvest. That's the law of life. So what I found that's very, very beneficial in my life is the law of sowing and reaping. The law of sowing and reaping says, as we sow, so shall we reap. Now, the law of sowing and reaping gives predictability, it gives certainty, and it gives security. Because when I know that whatever I'm sowing, I'm going to reap, right? That gives me a lot of security and feeling a sense of safety in my life. Because no matter what's going on in the economy, no matter what's going on in the world, if I live my life by that law that says, as I sow, so shall I reap. So if I get into the habit of enriching other people's lives, if I get into the habit of doing good, if I get into the habit of working on my personal development, what seeds am I actually sowing? I'm sowing good seeds. And what must come from that? I must harvest good returns. If I haven't, and if I'm able to unselfishly give to other people, and I sow good into the lives of others, and I really get pleasure in doing that, then naturally what is going to happen somewhere along the line? It may even not come back from the people that I'm giving to, but the law says, as you sow, so shall you reap. So if you're sowing good, if you're adding value and focusing on how you can enrich everything that has life, if you add value, then what is going to happen? It's going to come back to you. You know, I know someone in my life, she's never short of money. And the reason being she's always giving and adding value to other people's lives. It's amazing. She's never short because she's always adding value. The law of manifestation is a principle. What is that saying? In order to manifest something, everything starts in consciousness. So if we want to manifest something in our life, we have to know exactly what we want. We need to experience it in our minds, and we need to live as though we've already achieved the goal in our consciousness. That's the law of manifestation. The law of manifestation says everything is created in thought and in consciousness first. That's a law. Whatever we're experiencing in ourselves, whatever we're believing about life, right, that's exactly what we're going to attract. if we believe that life is full of opportunities, if we believe that obstacles are opportunities to grow, if we take time in the garden of our mind and plant the seeds in our fertile soil of our mind, and we experience what we want in consciousness, and we radiate that out, then the law of attraction kicks into place where we'll start to attract what we radiate. So those are two other principles, the law of manifestation and the law of attraction. The law of attraction says whatever energy I'm radiating out, I'm going to attract exactly the same back. Excuse me. There's also a law that says for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So once again, if I know exactly what I want to achieve and I'm experiencing this in consciousness in my mind, and I radiate that out and I take positive actions, what's going to happen? I'm going to automatically attract and receive positive things back to me. So that's something else that we need to do. We need to clarify what are the governing principles. What are the principles in our life that we've chosen to live by, that we value and are very important in our life? You'll notice as you start working through this, you'll start to feel more grounded, and you'll start to feel like you have a foundation upon which you set your goals. So we need to uncover what our principles and values are that govern our behavior. I've explained these little thoughts that I've shared. So we need to ask ourselves, when we set goals, are we setting goals for short-term pleasure, or are the goals that we're setting giving us longer-term pleasure? What's going to motivate us more? These are things we need to work through. Now, the next thing that we can do to clarify what we really want, and this is very easy to do and very powerful, we must expose ourselves to inspirational content on social media and via the search engines. Use inspirational content and quotations to gain more awareness. Use Google, use YouTube, etc. Use inspirational stories and on motivation that can motivate you. There's thousands of them on YouTube. Type in inspirational stories, people that have overcome obstacles, and there's a lot will come up. Now, something that I've done that I encourage you to do as well. Ask yourself questions based on what you have read or heard, and listen to your inner being. Let's take an example. I've taken some quotations out of some books and just some quotes that people have shared. And I'll show you how you can use this to get more clarity about what you want in life. James Allen wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh. And in this book, I've taken two little paragraphs. Only by much searching and mining are gold and diamonds obtained. A man can find every truth connected with his being if he will dig deep into the mine of his soul. Another paragraph out the book. A man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein and will continue to produce of their kind. Now, what comes up for you as I read these two paragraphs? Only by much searching and mining are gold and diamonds obtained, and man can find every truth connected with his being if he will dig deep into the mine of his soul. Now, I should use the word people instead of man, because so that we're talking about man and masculine and feminine, but I'm reading it as it is. A man's mind may be likened to a garden. So what is going on in the garden of my mind? You see, am I working on putting positive thoughts into my brain every day? What kind of life do I want to live? What does the farm of my life look like? Am I planting seeds that will help me to harvest the goals that I want to achieve? Am I working on being more positive? Am I exposing myself to positive ideas? You can just see what I'm doing with these sentences. I'm just asking myself questions. What's coming up? What can I learn? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. Joseph Campbell. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Am I staying out my comfort zone? Am I facing my fears? What am I fearful in my life? What patterns have I got that are holding me back that I need to overcome? Am I speaking my truth? Am I exercising courage in my life? This is what's coming up as I'm reading that paragraph, that thought. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desire brings weak results. Just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. What's coming up? What's coming up for me, I need to strengthen my level of desire. I need to take more action in order to achieve my goals. Your economic security does not lie in your job. It lies in your own power to produce, to think, to learn, to create, to adapt. That's true financial independence. It's not having wealth, it's having the power to produce wealth. Stephen Covey, what comes up for you there? Now, many times we think that our job security lies in a job, but financial security does not lie in a job. He says your economic security lies in your ability to produce. So if I can add value, if I can produce, whether it's a book, whether it's skills, whatever I can produce that can add value, if I can be more creative, if I can learn more things, if I can develop more skills, if I can think creatively, these are the things that are going to give me financial independence. So I can ask myself, in what ways do I need to think differently in order to create more value that I can add to people's lives that would give me more wealth? What do I need to learn? What do I need to create? In what ways do I need to adapt more? Stephen Covey. A good financial plan is a roadmap that shows us exactly how the choices we make today will affect our future. Alexa von Tobel. You must gain control over your money, or lack of it will forever control you. Dave Ramsey. But the real secret to lifelong good health is actually the opposite. Let your body take care of you. Dr. Deepak Chopra. Now, how can my body take care of me? I need to feed my body with good food. I need to exercise regularly. I need to make sure I'm taking periods of rest. That's what's coming up for me. And that's something else now that's reminded me, that's another reason why I want to become financially independent. Because I want to have the money to be able to rest, to go on holiday regularly, to go to gym regularly, to have money to buy the good quality food, have money to buy clothing. I want to have money to enrich other people's lives as well, that can help them to take care of their basic needs as well. I'd like to have money to help the needy people that have not had opportunities like I've had. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm taking these statements and I'm reading them, and I'm staying open and seeing, what can I learn from this? What goals can I set? What changes do I want to make? There are two ways to extend a business. Take inventory of what you're good at and extend out from your skills, or determine what your customers need and work backward. Even if it requires learning new skills, Kindle is an example of working backward. Jeff Bezos. So what comes up for you there? Take inventory of what you're good at. What are your skills? What are your strengths? Make a list of all your strengths. Make a list of your skills. Ask yourself, how can you use your skills more effectively to generate more income, to have a better life, to add more value to other people's lives? Or determine what your customers need. What do my customers need? Who are my customers? What are their needs? Do we need to do some research? How can I add more value in my current job, in my business that I'm running? If you're running your own business, how can you add value to more people's lives? Do you know what your people's goals are? You know what they want to achieve. It's very, very important if you're running your own business, your own company. What are your people's personal goals? Are they setting goals? Do your people feel that they can trust you and they can come to you and share what their goals are so you can help them achieve their goals? Are people able to achieve their personal goals in your business that you're running? Have you created a way for them to help the company achieve its goals, which will help your people achieve what they really want? If you have anything really valuable to contribute to the world, it will come through the expression of your own personality, that single spark of divinity that sets you off and makes you different from every other living creature. Bruce Barton. What is unique? What are your unique talents and abilities? How can you add value? What is your unique divine spark? What is your divine spark? Is it coming through? Your true divinity, is that coming through in your life? The next thing we can do to clarify what we want, we can take quiet time. Just get into the habit of taking a few minutes a day, even 5 minutes a day. Take a few breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Focusing on your breathing. Just noticing the inhaling and the exhaling and the pause between each one. You'll notice when you breathe in, before you breathe out, there's a tiny pause. Breathing out. Notice as you breathe in, just notice there's a tiny pause. Try and get into the flow of your breathing. Try and sense your energy as you become harmonious with your breathing. Also, try and breathe in when your body wants the breath. Just experiment with that. So through your breathing, you can become more peaceful. And also just stay open, become aware of your body and your intuition, what is coming up. So when you just take a few minutes, 5 minutes a day, just stay open. Just listen to your body, stay open to your intuition, your guidance. Your inner being will guide you also as the direction that you want to be moving in your life. Now, the next thing you can do to clarify what you want, it's very important to experience your true essence. Now, as I mentioned, I created a video called The Pathway Back to the Garden of Eden. I spoke a lot about that in that video. And I also will have a video within the next few days. It's the 4th of June, 2020. Within the next few days, I will have another video created on how you can go about experiencing your true essence. So once we've gone through this process, and I encourage you to take time and do this on a regular basis, even a couple of minutes a day will help you to gain more clarity. You'll understand yourself better. Once you've worked through this process, you can ask yourself, excuse me, what are the important goals that you want to work on now? So once you've been through the self-evaluation process and the steps that I've covered, you can start to make a list of what your goals are based on your values and your principles. Then you can start to ask yourself, what are the most important goals you want to start working on now? And what are your priorities at the moment? You can make a list. And these can change and be updated as well. Now, something else that can help you get clarity on what you really want as well, pick one of your top priority goals and ask and write down the following. What will be different in my life from achieving this specific goal? Why do I want to achieve the goal? And write down as many reasons, many things that will happen in your life from achieving the goal. What will be different in your life from achieving this goal? What pleasure will I experience more of from achieving this goal? And what pain will I move away from achieving this goal? Take some time and focus on why you want to achieve the goal. Now, here's something else that can help you if you're in a situation where you need to make a decision about what your goal is and what path you want to take. I've used this a lot of times in my life. It's a 4-step clarification process. Let's take you in a work situation. You currently have a job and you're looking at another opportunity that have identified and you're not sure whether to stay or to go. So here's a 4-step process you can ask yourself and write it down on a piece of paper or type it out. Number 1, what are the positive consequences of staying? Write down as many positive consequences as you can. What are the negative consequences of staying? Type them out or write them out. Then what are the positive consequences of leaving? And what are the negative consequences of leaving? Now, once you've taken time to write as much detail as you can, just ask yourself, read all of this and say, what am I learning from this? And from this process, it'll help you to get more clarity about what your goals are and what you want to be doing. Now, I also created a video called 5 Steps to Manifesting What You Really Want. Once you've identified what you really want, you can go through that video and it'll help you go through the 5 steps of how to achieve what you really want. Now, let's sum up. If we really want to set our goals, be clear on what we really want, we need to be willing to do the work. Nothing in life comes easy. There's a price to pay. And the consistency is the key. If you just take a few minutes every day and work through this process, you'll find you'll get a lot more clarity. You'll get more clarity in terms of what you want, and you'll start to achieve much, much more in your life. I'm not saying that you haven't achieved, but one can always achieve more, one can always give more, one can always do more, one can always enjoy more of the abundance in life. So I want to encourage you, the rewards are worth it that you'll receive, and you'll also enrich many other people's lives from achieving your own clearly defined goals. Also, you'll find that by making sure that your goals include service to other people, your life will be enriched in many, many ways. Now, I want to encourage you. What do you really want out of your life? As a Man Thinketh is a book written by James Allen, published in 1902. James Allen passed on in the year 1912. 117 years later, we can have access to his book. If you go onto the internet, you type in As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, you can actually get the free PDF to download. Now, James Allen achieved his goal, and we have been benefiting from this book for the last 117 years and will continue to benefit. So my question to you is, what song do you want to sing? What book do you want to write? What legacy do you want to leave for your children and humanity? What message do you want to share? What really excites you? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to see happening in your life that's maybe not happening at the moment? What relationships are important in your life? What does freedom mean to you? How will your life be different if you had a lot more money and a lot more free time? What changes do you want to make? What is your purpose in life? What really excites you? How do you want to contribute to humanity and to everything that has life? And here's one of my favorite quotes. A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. James N. Watkins. So I encourage you, ask yourself, what are the actions you need to take to achieve your goals? What really excites you? Write it down. Get into the habit of reading your goals on a regular basis. You know, I've got a 2-ring binder file. I've had this for many years. And when it gets full, I take out some of the pages and I put them in another file. And you can see, make this your own. And what I do in this file, I basically write down my goals. And every day I read my goals, I review my goals, and I see, like, I work on my goals every day. And as an example, I wrote down here sometime in the past, my purpose is to know the truth and to help other people to also know the truth. The truth is basically bringing awareness and making the facts of our true essence known. So I'll just read what I wrote down. Some of these things I wrote down a while back. Sunday, the 19th of April, 2020. Money is good. It's beautiful. And I enjoy having an abundance of money. I can do wonderful things with money. I attract plenty money easily because the love and power I am reveals itself and is abundance consciousness. So what I'm doing, I'm just, every day I'll write a little bit down. I'll review what my goals are. Here I wrote down on Sunday, the 9th of June, 2019, I must stay focused on my goals, what I really want. Don't allow obstacles to block me. Grow from them. What type of job would really excite me right now? What people buy on an ongoing basis? Take control of my power and persist. Make my life work for my own self-respect. Do you see what I'm doing? I wrote this down on Sunday, the 9th of June, and I'm just opening up this file. I'm reading it, and it's reminding me of my goals, things that are important to me. So, my friends, if you like this video and you got value from it, I encourage you, watch the video again. You don't have to watch the whole video. Spend a little bit of time from time to time. And if you like the video, please click on the like button. Please share if you got value from this video. And on YouTube, click on the bell on YouTube so you'll get notified whenever I create and post and upload new videos. Now, this is what I do in terms of my life. I want to bring this type of knowledge to the world. I want to help people to have a more enriched life. If you are able to donate, I would really appreciate that so that I can continue having the time to do this work. There are different ways you can donate, which are under the video. So I encourage you, take the time to clarify what you really want and work on these processes. I'm sure there are other things you can do as well that you can research to have clarity in terms of what you want. But these are some of the things that have worked for me and that can also work for you.